Man, that's just good music right there. I like that little elevator music, right?
That is nice. Soothing, right?
Yes.
I like that.
It's the calm before the storm, Brian, is what it is.
It is. Welcome to the show, everybody. We got Bukenik, Sergeant Bukhenik.
Yeah.
Part two.
Make up for the last time we attempted this, right? We attempted it, didn't work, so we had to regroup, regather, and reshoot.
We had some technical. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties. But all good, all fixed. I wanted you to know that it was about 4 hours, right? And I cut that, Double B got that cut down to you for tonight, hour 23 minutes. Okay, so no 4 hour live, no 6 hour live. Hour 23 minutes, you guys can hang with us.
And it's sped up a little bit too, right?
I want to say it's perfect, but yet I don't want to say it's perfect. I think it's good. Of course it's sped up. I got you. Okay. The volume, everything's taken care of, people. Double B's on the job. I got it. So what I cut out of it was little Higgy Piggy at the Canton Police Department, right? Walking around. We cut that out. I had to get rid of it.
When he's out there being a phantom over there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I didn't see the need for everybody's. We've seen a lot of the video, and I didn't see the need for everybody to sit here for hours and just watch the same video over and over. So I got the meat and potatoes for tonight. But I cut out the part where Higgins is walking around, right? And you remember what he said, G? He said he was moving cars, right?
Yeah. He didn't move one fucking car.
Well, no, he did. He moved one car. He pulled a truck forward about a foot. Mm-hmm. Then he went into a truck. Mm-hmm. Retrieved the bag, pretty big bag too. Walks over to his Jeep, puts it in his Jeep, drives off. So he wasn't really moving cars. I wonder what was in that bag.
Yeah.
What do you think, G? I don't know. Right?
Evidence and bleach bottles.
Yeah. Now I can already see some of the comments. So I'm going to cut this off right here. Is that unusual? Believe it or not, an ATF officer walking around the police station, and if he's out moving cars or doing something, he might be supplying or gearing up for an early raid, right? Mm-hmm. So that does happen. You'll see SWAT and our ATF sometimes in the parking lot at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, depends on what time the warrant is, right? So they're gearing up and getting ready. Do we think that happened here, G?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
Because when ATF and SWAT are going to do a raid, they're going to meet up where SWAT does their briefings, right?
Right.
They might come to our area command. That's if the house they're going to hit is in our area.
Right. Yep. Yeah, they'll always go to the side of town where the warrant's at.
Yeah. So.
And then before we roll this video, I wanted to touch on Burgess real quick because I watched his testimony, and Leslie really, really, really destroyed him on the stand. And Gonzo didn't really get to see it, so I wanted to talk to him about it a little bit. But Burgess basically lied today on today on the stand, saying that he has his bachelor's degree in math and science, and he does not.
Wait a minute.
So they actually went on his.
He testified that he had a degree, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They went on his LinkedIn page and on his work for where he works for Aperture. He went on the website, and when you click on him, it shows you everything he's accomplished basically. And he says he already has his bachelor's, and he gets money from that. He gets work from that, right?
Yeah.
So, man, and you know what's even better is that Aunt Bev did not want to voir dire Burgess.
What?
She didn't want to voir dire him. They didn't voir dire him. They were just like, nah, he's good, right? So
he's a certified expert on paper.
Big mistake. Huge mistake.
That probably made her look like crap.
Yeah, that was a big mistake. That was huge.
So I wonder, is he still working?
Yeah,
Is he still working on getting his degree?
Well, he got off the stand today, but it looks like I don't know if they're going to be able to use anything that he testified. Testified to. I think they thought. I think I don't know. I think he was going to refute everything that Dr. Wolf said, but
You can't.
it's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen.
You can't. Yeah,
And
you
he
can't.
has some stuff with cell phone. Yeah, but either way, yeah, he lied, and that did not look good at all today. So I thought that was very interesting.
That's a win for Karen Reed. Big win.
Yeah. That was a big mistake they made. Big mistake. Should have voir dired him.
Yeah.
Voir dire.
Yeah. So before we get started here, Brian, I'll need to ask you a question.
Okay.
Hey, Steve, you want to pop in here real quick? I'm going to ask both of you a question. And tell me if this is uncommon. No.
Here it comes.
Tell me if this is uncommon. Crystal and I were talking, and I said, babe, why did you marry me? Right? You guys asked that question to your wives, right? Why did you marry me? And she goes, well, you make me laugh. You're always funny, and you're never serious, which is true because that's how I am, right? Then I kind of thought about it. I thought it might have been for maybe my good looks, my charm. You know what she says? She goes, see, you're always making me laugh. You're always funny. So she didn't marry me for my looks. Damn it. She got me for my charm, my humor.
And your big arms.
I took a hit to the ego.
Big guns.
Well,
come on, you're a solid 3 at least.
That's what I'm thinking. Damn, man. But oh well.
While you got
life
me
goes
on, real quick, I'll give. We got a milestone here. Jillian is a new member. Welcome, Jillian. Be sure to check out the member tab on our YouTube channel for some members-only videos.
Lots of funny videos. Those are good videos. I like those. Steve did good on those.
And we got a super chat from K-Rab.
Already? We haven't even started.
We started. We're gone. Saying Burgess spent 17 years continually updating his CV to change the date he was expected to earn his bachelor's. Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 2018. He's still working at it.
Well, that's the same with Trooper Paul. He's still working on his mathematics.
Yeah, he is. Poor Trooper Paul. I hope he finds a brain.
Did you guys get a chance to watch the microdots video today?
I did.
About that? Yeah.
I did.
And the
I did.
Bev signal at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very weird. Very weird.
Backstage, a lot of backstage stuff going on. I'm just, in my opinion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
As I'm watching the video of Higgy Piggy running around in the back in the snow, what is he doing? Like, I still stick with he wanted to get that alibi and he wanted to gather intel. Because the first room he went into, if you watch the microdots, he went into the comm room, right, Steve? Yep. And the comm room is where all the intel dumps are done, and they get all the info of what's going on that night if there's any crucial calls or important calls or critical incidents. Obviously, this was a critical incident, but it didn't come in at 1:30. So
shenanigans.
Wants to know if you guys think it could have been a pistol whipping.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been, but I'm still betting my money that it was like a 5-pound weight that fucking hit him in the back, or a 2.5-pound dumbbell, cause that kind of damage.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many variations that could have happened, especially in a room with weights, and he could have fallen, hit his head, lots of things could happen.
Yeah, for sure. Are you ready? Get your video rolling.
I am ready. The ride-alongs, you guys ready for Bukenik? Bukenik. Man, his name's messed up. Bukenik.
It's Bukhenik.
Bukenik, sorry. This is my first video. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Sergeant. Have you had an opportunity to review that
document?
Document?
Look at that, Brian.
Indicate that in addition to several other files, there is a login session report that was produced by the Ring Corporation as well. It's highlighted on that page.
Number 4 is highlighted with one Excel file containing login session information.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. And again, just to make sure I'm very clear about this, nothing from the Ring Corporation suggested or intimated that Ms. Reed actually accessed any of that Ring account information, correct?
The information provided did not indicate that, no.
Thank you. I want to ask you a couple of questions about your testimony on direct examination related to your trip to the hospital and your observation specific to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm. You indicated that you saw bruising on his right arm in addition to the abrasions, the parallel abrasions that you described, correct?
I believe bruising is very similar to abrasion.
Okay, that's my question. Can we, Your Honor, with the court's
No, it's
permission,
not.
can we show Exhibit 1? It's already been
No, it's not.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw in terms of the condition of Mr. O'Keefe's arm while at the hospital, if not exactly like this?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What did you mean when you said you saw bruising on his arm? What were you talking about?
I actually indicated bruising on his right hand, the back of his right hand.
Okay, fair enough. From his wrist, when I say arm, can we agree, at least for this purpose for the purposes of this discussion, that I mean from the wrist up to the shoulder? Did you see any bruising from the wrist to his shoulder?
I saw exactly what's depicted there with the abrasions and lacerations.
Okay. You know what lividity is, correct?
I do.
Okay. Describe for the
Hey,
jurors what
pause it,
lividity
Steve.
is.
Lividity is the pooling.
So, real disclaimer, real quick. We'd like to apologize for anybody who just has a seizure looking at that light.
Hey, we couldn't show the arm, right? We can't show the arm on YouTube, ride-alongs. Can't show the arm. So I had to come up with an idea to show the arm, but not show the arm. You see what I'm saying? I thought that was pretty good.
For those ride-alongs that are getting up from that seizure, we apologize.
Or for those of you that think you just saw a fish, that was not a fish. That was an arm. But we can't show the real arm, people, right? Can't do that. We'll get in trouble. Not good. Had to hide it. Was that good?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh,
Made me
and
chuckle.
hold on a second. Abrasions and bruises are not the same thing. Abrasion is like a brush burn, right? Like a rug burn, but you got a little bit of blood, or it's scratchy. A bruise is bleeding under the skin.
Right.
How does he not know the difference, man?
But
All right.
you know what, though? You do get rug burns when you're fighting for your life.
Of course, but is it an abrasion or a bruise or both? But they're not the same.
Yeah. Roll it. More like a psychedelic, exactly.
Yeah.
Of blood inside the body as a deceased individual falls or is positioned naturally with gravity, blood begins to settle in the lowest portions of the body. If you're laying face down, it'd be your face. It also contours to the imprint or the force that's exerted on the body from below. If someone's deceased on TV remote control, you can see the remote control, the buttons underneath from the pressure.
So it's a bluish, purplish discoloration of the skin, not from an impact, but from the pooling of blood after the heart stops, correct?
That's correct.
Do you see an area at the upper arm that the skin looks discolored in addition to the abrasions that we see?
I'm sorry, I was looking at that one.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry, yes. Right up toward the upper biceps, triceps area.
I see that area, yes.
Okay, is that consistent with lividity rather than bruising?
I would not agree with that, no.
You believe that that's a bruise?
I believe that that's a laceration.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about the discoloration of the skin, the reddish purplish hue of the skin, separate and apart from the abrasion, from the abrasions or lacerations to the skin. The discoloration. Do you see that discoloration or no?
I do not know.
You do not?
I do not know.
Okay, we can take that down. As you sit here today, you're not suggesting that you saw bruising from the wrist to the shoulder on John O'Keefe's arm?
Nothing that stood out to me.
Okay.
I observed lacerations and abrasions.
All right, thank you.
You would think he'd
I'll
say,
shift
I
gears
saw
one more
bruising
time
because of
and ask you
the
about
vehicle impact,
your
right?
trip to Dighton and the seizure of the SUV. You testified that you seized the SUV somewhere.
You would
I
think.
your testimony on direct examination was somewhere around 4:15, 4:17, something like that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does 4:12 sound like it could be a reasonable time that SUV was actually seized in Massachusetts State Police custody?
It could be reasonable. I'd have to refer to the video evidence that, and then also the exact time
Wow.
that we advised the defendant
Thanks,
that we were going
Breezy.
to be seizing it. I guess it could
Wow.
be argued that that's when it was seized. Even we had the intent to seize it right there.
Right. Took the key fob, went outside, had a had a tow truck driver actually put it onto the back of the flatbed. Ultimately, it was transported, correct?
Correct.
And you became aware at some point that there was video evidence. You just referenced it. Video evidence of that, I'm going to call it seizure process. Is that right?
Yes.
And that video evidence had a timestamp on it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
He's getting nervous.
You're also aware, as the supervisor of Michael Proctor,
Yes.
that he swore under oath in multiple affidavits in support of search warrants that the SUV was seized at 5:30 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And you knew at the time, because you were actually there, and you knew when the vehicle was seized, that stating under oath in an affidavit that it was 5:30 p.m. and not 4:12 p.m., that was a false statement, correct?
There's a discrepancy in time there, yes.
Did you take any action, you yourself as a supervisor, did you take any action to correct that false or misleading state? Let me ask it a different way. Did you take any action to correct that time to the accurate time of 4:12 in any of the affidavits that you became aware of?
No, the actual time of the seizure through the video, we learned much later. So the approximate time, 5:30, although inaccurate, I did not take any action to correct it, no.
And you received that video as a production from the defense. You did not have access to that video, correct?
Yes.
And so at the time that Michael Proctor actually wrote and drafted these affidavits and swore to them under oath, he did not know that a video existed, correct?
Objection.
Sustained, you have to word it differently.
Sure. At the time that you, let me ask it a different way. At the time that you reviewed his declarations under oath, you did not know that a video existed.
No, we did not know.
Pause it, Steve. Man, oh man. Dates, times, those are very important.
Yeah, you're going to see probably near the about 75% through. There's about 5 minutes there of he's just getting him to confirm timestamps on the Sallyport and this and that. And again, I left it in because it's important because it's locking him in on those times. So
yeah, it's very crucial when you recover evidence.
Yeah.
Time, date, location.
Yeah. Time,
right?
date, location. Yeah. And
you have to
exact
have that.
location. Yes.
Yeah.
Exact specific location. Yeah.
Not just an address, but 3 feet from the curb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's ways that you can write down exactly where it is. Yeah.
Roll it,
It's
Steve.
not Canton. Yeah,
Let me have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Looking sharp.
I want to ask you about something that was brought up on direct examination. Sustained findings as it pertains to you. You've already talked about the fact that, Sergeant, you're a supervisor and we're a supervisor back in January of 2022 moving forward over Trooper Proctor.
What
correct?
the?
Yes.
Generally speaking, as a supervisor, your job is to properly and professionally supervise, show some authority over those in your charge. Is that right?
Yes.
Michael Proctor was, in fact, a trooper in your charge.
Yes.
And you would agree that your supervision has a direct impact on the character and quality of the subordinate investigators that you supervise.
Yes.
The whole point of having supervision and a chain of command is to establish a certain amount of, for lack of a better phrase, quality control of the subordinates.
Yes.
Yep.
That would also include quality control over the subordinates' investigations.
Yes.
Oh, he's feeding
On
them.
August 17th,
He's feeding them.
2022, you were in a group text with the following individuals: Michael Proctor, Trooper Kukowski, a lieutenant named Fanning, and a trooper named DiCicco, D-I-C-I-C-C-O, correct?
Yes.
He knows the hammer's gonna drop, son.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm handing you a document. Can you tell me if you recognize that document?
He's scanning just so he can prepare his answers when he asks him a question about a certain text message.
Yeah. Did you hear what the Witcher said?
What do you say?
He said the F word. I don't know. I guess it was too short. I guess I made it a little longer. Just as he said, he's Proctor's boss. Or the Witcher comes on and goes, "Fuck."
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Oh.
I recognize parts of it.
You saw that document on direct examination. I think you were shown the same document, correct?
It was different parts of it, but same. It's inclusive of within this document.
Okay. Let's start with this. You
Hey,
indicated that
Barbie.
you did not see Michael Proctor's name on that document, correct?
Correct. His name is not on here.
But you do recognize that as being reflective, accurately reflective of the text chain that you were on August 17th, 2022, that group chat.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to do this a little bit backward, but bear with me. You do see the name Kukowski, correct?
I do.
You do see the name Fanning, correct?
I do.
You do see the name DeChico, correct?
I do.
And you do see the name Bukhenik, correct?
No, it's misspelled, but I know they're probably referencing me.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only other text or person texting on that chain is a code, a lengthy, almost like a URL code with no name, correct?
Yes, you're right.
And
Yes.
the only person that I didn't name, whose name I did not read off, that's obvious on that document, is Michael Proctor, correct?
Correct.
So deductive reasoning tells you that that is, the code is Michael Proctor. Is that right?
I would agree with you, yes.
Okay. In that text chain, it starts with Trooper DeChico sending a photograph, correct?
You saying he smells like baby powder?
No.
Yep.
The, may I approach?
Yes.
You turn to page 2683, please.
Who's that a picture of?
Yes, I do.
Okay, fair enough. There were some texts between and among the group that preceded this photograph, correct?
Yes.
I want to start on this date, August 17, 2022, with this photograph. This photograph was sent by Trooper DeChico to the group, correct?
It possibly appears that way. I really can't. I mean,
Your Honor, with your
Yes.
permission, I'm not sure this document has been marked. I'd like to have this marked and
Sure,
admitted.
we'll mark it for ID.
I'd actually have it marked and admitted. There's certain things I'd like to show.
What's Cornwall's position on that?
I have no objection to admission, but not in this form. It needs to be redacted.
Redacted. Wow, fancy.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to publish just one page of what's been marked for identification. I'm sorry, I would ask that it be marked, the entire document be marked for identification.
Yes.
yeah, need this.
It's Exhibit FF for ID.
And with the court's permission, I would ask to display or to publish page 2683 of that document.
So are you admitting into evidence, page 263?
I would.
Do you have a separate one rather than tearing it out of what's been marked for
I can-
identification?
I can take it out of this copy.
I'm going to try to focus on Bev, see if she looks
Can you
toward
redact it before it's admitted?
Brennan.
It's been redacted.
Exhibit 160.
Dude, you should have saw her during Burgess. Woo!
I
She
bet.
did not look happy, man.
Yes, thank you.
I don't
Finally,
know why I
the
left
witch-
this in. Sorry, folks.
So we're talking about the same thing, Sergeant. I just handed you a page that's been marked Exhibit 116. Do you recognize that as being a copy of one of the multiple pages in the document that you're holding that's been marked for identification as FF?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we could publish that single page, please.
Okay.
Is that a photograph that was sent by Trooper DeChico to the group?
According
Look
to
at
the document,
Yannetti.
Who is depicted in that photograph?
yes. The big story, Mr. David Yannetti, criminal defense attorney.
Do you see that person in court?
Yes, I do.
Where is he seated and what is he wearing?
He's seated right there wearing a blue tie and a dark suit, white shirt.
Thank you. We can bring the lights up, Your Honor.
It would have been funny if you said, "Nope, I
In
don't."
response
don't see
to,
him.
and going back to the
There he
multi-page
is.
document FF, in response to Trooper Tachiko's photograph that he sent to the group, you responded to that photograph, did you not?
Yes, this document indicates so, yes.
And you responded by laughing at it, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Well, that's what it says, or that's what you did.
I don't remember.
Trooper Proctor then, former Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, then responded, correct?
Yeah, he did.
That's what it says here, yes.
And he responded to the group, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Michael Proctor then responded again. Is that right?
Yes.
He wrote, no nudes so far, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Michael Proctor responded yet again. Is that right?
That's correct.
And in reference to Mr. Yannetti's photograph, he wrote, I hate that man. I truly hate him. Correct?
That's what it says.
There's a trooper by the name of Moore, M-O-O-R-E, correct?
There is.
Hey, pause it for a sec, Steve.
Disliked
Oh, it looks like I'm gonna have to pause it. Can I
phrase,
pause it?
the statement, no nudes so far, correct?
All right. So I'm kind of confused. How did they put Yannetti's picture on there before they even started the case, or is this after? Am I missing something?
No, I don't. I'm not sure why they showed that. Maybe people in the chat can help us out. I just caught it. I just left it in there because, why not? They're showing Yannetti. So.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's good, but I'm just trying to figure out what time frame was this text stream, right? He said that he's going through Karen Reed's phone, right? So
Yeah.
it had to be pretty soon after she got arrested.
Yeah, he's just about to talk about Proctor.
But why would they post Yannetti's picture on there before? Did she already have him as an attorney? Is that what happened?
I don't know.
Maybe the
I
chat
don't
can
know.
tell us.
Yeah, I don't know, but this was the last day.
Huh. All right, Steve. Okay, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, she
Okay.
hired him right after she was arrested.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what it
Smart girl.
says.
Thank you.
Did that indicate to you that Moore was disappointed that Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, had not found naked pictures of Miss Reed as yet?
I don't know what that indicated for Mr. Moore.
And then you responded to the phrase, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone, correct?
I acknowledged that text message being sent.
You acknowledged it by liking it, correct, with a thumbs up.
I acknowledged it by responding with a thumbs up emoji.
The fact is, Trooper Proctor told you, his supervisor, in this series of text messages, that he was going through Miss Reed's phone. Is that right?
Correct.
And he also informed you, his supervisor, that he was going through her phone looking for nudes or naked pictures of her on her phone, correct?
Yes.
He did not tell me that he was going through naked pictures, for naked pictures through the phone.
He
No.
wrote, no nudes so far, right?
That is what is written, yes.
What did you think he was looking for when he wrote that phrase?
I don't know what he was looking for.
What would be a reasonable interpretation of what Michael Proctor was looking for when he wrote, no nudes so far?
I don't know.
Motorcycles, handbags, pair of shoes, or naked pictures of Miss Karen Reed?
Say it.
His
Say it.
mission was to go through the phone to look for digital evidence that's related to the crime. The fact that he wrote no nude so far, I cannot comment on.
You cannot comment on or you don't want to comment on.
I don't know what he was looking for in that specific time.
You certainly did nothing. You took no action to stop him from potentially looking for naked pictures of my client.
Wow.
correct?
That's correct.
In fact, last week you testified that in your view, Michael Proctor handled himself in this investigation with integrity. That's what you said, correct?
That's correct.
Do you stand by that testimony?
The investigation was handled with integrity and honor.
Do you stand by your testimony that Michael Proctor conducted himself during the course of this investigation with integrity?
Yes, I do.
He also called her retarded.
Are you
Correct?
serious?
That is what's written.
That's what's written? That's a very passive way of saying it, Sergeant. That's what's written, or that's what he wrote?
That's what he wrote.
And that's what you read.
I have no memory of reading that. I acknowledged him going through the phone on my Apple Watch. I have no memory of him writing retarded on a text message.
And you'll agree that that is one of the most vile and insensitive and incendiary terms one could use in modern society. Retarded, correct?
That is correct.
Never go full retard.
And in fact, through your response to that vile phrase, you encouraged it because you liked it with a thumbs up, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you encourage that statement by Michael Proctor by liking it with a thumbs up?
I don't know if it encouraged him, but so I cannot speak to
But
that.
that's what you did.
Okay.
I acknowledge that.
Okay.
Mr. O'Keefe's
Okay.
right
Okay.
arm.
Okay.
You indicated that you saw bruise.
Can you pause that, Steve? Thanks.
Steve,
All right. All right. Let's talk about. He absolutely encouraged it, right? He didn't do anything to stop it,
Nope.
right?
Not one thing. Yeah.
In Metro World, that's called a code 30. We discussed this in a previous video, right? Anything that's
Yeah. Lock that
not
shit
chased-
down.
right, knock it off because it's not professional, right? So
Correct.
he just didn't want to admit he read it, right? That's the only thing that's happening right now. So if he gets a text message, he's reading every text message, every text thread that he has between him and his
Correct.
the people that he's supervising and his bosses,
Yeah.
right? So he
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
what's happening.
Of course he does. He's seeing it. He's reading it. He knows he is not telling the truth, people. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Yeah, I don't like it, dude.
He
One
knows.
bit.
He read it.
He's
They all read it.
not a very
Nah.
good supervisor.
No, fuck no. No.
Roll, Steve.
bruising on his right arm, in addition to the abrasions, the parallel abrasions that you
And he's in
described,
homicide.
I believe bruising is very
Wait a
similar
minute.
to abrasion.
correct? Okay, that's my question. Can
Did we go back?
with the court's permission, can we show Exhibit 1? It's already been introduced. Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw?
Well,
you
we jumped back.
How'd you do that?
I didn't do anything.
I didn't touch it.
Damn it, Gonzo.
Did I do something? My hands have been right
I
here.
don't know. I hit on pause. It must have moved the dang playhead.
Blame
I
it
know.
on the
When
blame
you
it on the
slide your
small
hand
guy.
over, Gonzo hit the video and then the pause.
I might have done it.
I didn't pause it.
It happened.
I unpaused it. I'll take the blame.
We were
I don't know what he was
we
looking
were
for.
right
at that
past
specific time.
where he's looking for the nudes.
You certainly
Nudes,
did nothing.
bro.
You took no action to stop him from potentially looking for naked pictures of my client, correct?
Yeah, that's
That's
good.
correct.
Yeah. How about knock the shit off,
In
guys?
fact, last
We
week
have a
you
dead
testified
officer.
that in your view, Michael Proctor handled himself in this investigation with integrity. That's what you said, correct?
That's correct.
Do you stand by that testimony?
The investigation was handled with integrity and honor.
Do you stand by your testimony that Michael Proctor conducted himself during the course of this investigation with integrity?
Yes, I do.
He also called her retarded.
Are you
Correct?
serious?
That is what's written.
That's what's written? That's a very passive way.
I didn't do nothing. Okay.
Ain't me. The gremlins.
Poltergeist.
What would
somebody
Colonel
said.
Noble call Michael Proctor's title in this case? Do you think he'd call him the case officer or the lead investigator? What is your experience with Massachusetts State Police in that regard?
Case officer.
Sustained.
He will not say lead detective.
Nope, he won't.
He will. Case officer.
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate was on this text chain and a supervisor to you, was Lieutenant Fanning one of your supervisors?
Yes.
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate was on this text chain and one of your supervisors was on this text chain, you felt comfortable enough within this group of law enforcement to actually like when the subordinate refers to a suspect as retarded, correct?
I acknowledge the text message with a thumbs up emoji.
Do you believe that? Well, let me ask you another question, predicate question. You were also comfortable enough with that text chain to receive information that your subordinate was looking for naked pictures on a suspect's phone, a woman.
Yeah, bro.
No less.
Yeah.
Correct? You took no remedial action against Trooper Proctor for that, correct?
No, I did not, no.
Do you believe, as you sit here, that that was a misuse of power and authority by a Massachusetts State Police officer?
By myself or
No,
somebody else?
by Michael Proctor.
Misuse of what?
Misuse of authority and power to go through a suspect's phone, to get her phone using the authority and the power vested in that officer by the community members.
Yeah.
That's the power that you've derived, correct?
Yeah.
You work for the public. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sustained.
Do you believe it was a misuse of his authority and power to
It
use
was.
Massachusetts State Police Authority to go through her phone and look for naked pictures of her?
Objection.
Yes.
Sustained.
Do you believe it was a misuse of authority or power to go through her phone and potentially look for nudes?
Objection.
Sustained.
What the?
Fuck. What?
Let me ask it differently.
You know? Yeah, please.
Did you think his text was appropriate?
Yeah.
I don't remember reading that text.
As you
so
sit here now, do you think that text is appropriate?
no, it is not.
Do you think it's professional?
No, it is not.
Do you
Okay.
think it shows integrity?
No, it does not.
That text message does not show integrity.
Do you think it
Thank
shows
you.
honor?
Honor.
The word I expect you hold dear.
That text message does not show honor.
Attaboy.
Right. Fuck
Fall
you,
on the
we did that
goddamn
right so
October
far.
15th, 2022, you completed a performance review of Michael Proctor, correct?
That's correct.
Specifically, you were asked to rank his, quote, oral and written communication skills, end quote, correct?
Correct.
That's part of an overall evaluation and performance review, is that right?
Yes, overall 90-day, quarterly, annual review.
And
You were specifically asked to rank
That's right.
whether he effectively would whether members, your subordinates, would effectively communicate with others, both within and outside the department, in oral and written form, correct?
That's correct.
And you rated him as exceptional, a number 4 rating out of 5, correct?
That's correct.
You actually went on to write a
Exceptional.
comment on Michael Proctor, and you wrote, quote, Trooper Michael Proctor displays professional demeanor, composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of his duties, and especially during his interactions with the public. This is seen during interviews with witnesses, suspects, as well as victims and their families, end quote. That was a statement you wrote about Michael Proctor, correct?
That is correct.
And this is after the text chain that we've just been talking about, where he calls Miss Reed retarded and references looking for nude photographs of her, correct?
That is correct.
Was your statement in that evaluation true or false?
It was true.
Wow.
You knew Michael Proctor's proclivities, obviously. You told them to you, correct?
The term proclivities, what
You
does that mean?
knew what he tended to do, what he wanted to do through his own comments, to look for nudes on a woman's phone, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You were aware, sir, that he had received evidence in a case, evidence that doesn't belong to him, belongs to the Massachusetts State Police, at least at that point, correct? The cell phone.
I was aware that he received a cell phone, yes.
And he used that power and the authority to go through that cell phone and look for nudes of my client, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
During the same
Steve,
course
for a sec.
of your evaluation, you were also asked to,
You would have been a good question to ask after you did that review, and he said that he handled himself with honor and integrity. I would have said, "Where's Trooper Proctor now?"
yeah. How'd that work out for him? He handled this with honor and integrity. How did that work out for him now?
After you gave him a rave review, where is your subordinate now?
I know. I should have
Right?
had like swimmers or divers all holding up tens or slam dunk. Because
Yeah.
you know he was going to give him a raving review, right? Now he's pushing a broom in a high school somewhere, right?
Yeah, but how does
Maybe-
that look? How does that make Bukhenik look? Horrible as a supervisor. You know, and the jury's watching it. That he
It makes
approved
him
all
look
this
like a
stuff.
crappy supervisor.
Right. Man,
Sorry, you're glitching. I didn't mean to talk over you.
no, I'm not glitching. Roll it, Steve.
Yeah, you're glitching. Why is the internet always suck for me? This is ridiculous. All right.
Evaluate his investigative
Doc
ability,
Bourne.
correct?
That's correct.
You rated him the highest standard in the Massachusetts State Police,
Thank
outstanding,
you.
a 5, correct?
That's correct.
And you went on to write about Michael Proctor in the commentary below that rating to justify it. Is that right?
That is accurate, yes.
You wrote, quote, Trooper Proctor has had a high-profile caseload with a lot of eye and pressure from external sources during the first day of the investigation. He handled himself and all the case with utmost professionalism and competence. He is able to investigate his case thoroughly and with strict integrity, end quote. Correct?
Which quarterly review was this?
This is the same one. October 2022. Is that right? Those are your comments.
That sounds very accurate. I just was not sure which quarterly review that was for.
They're all the same, apparently, huh?
Professionalism?
Apparently, yeah,
Yes.
it's
Do you
just
believe that
copy
he
paste,
acted in accordance with the highest standards of professionalism?
During his 90-day performance, yes.
And you didn't just say he displayed professionalism, you said utmost professionalism, correct?
Yes.
Competence? Do you
Yeah.
believe he displayed competence?
Yes.
And not just integrity, but he conducted himself, as you put it, with strict integrity. Is that right?
That is correct.
Did it show integrity in your view when your subordinate Michael Proctor called Miss Reed retarded?
Objection.
strict
I'll allow that.
integrity. No.
I believe that as a U.S. citizen, he has the right to comment. That's his First Amendment right.
Wow.
We uphold the Constitution, and it's unfortunate,
Okay.
unprofessional what he said in the private text message communication. He might have been voicing his frustrations. I cannot speak for Michael Proctor. It is unprofessional and unfortunate that he said that.
This was not, Sergeant Bukenik, a private text message conversation. This was with his boss and 4 or 5 other individuals, one of whom was your boss.
It
Correct?
has nothing to do with the
Correct.
freedom of speech.
This was
Yep.
communication intended for and
Yeah.
received by members of his unit in furtherance of his investigative authority, correct?
It was amongst members of the unit.
He was updating his boss about what he was doing in furtherance of the investigation, going through her phone, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I would disagree
Yes.
with you on that. This was a group chain, text message chain that we were discussing private matters in our personal lives.
Private matters, including going through Miss Reed's phone.
What was that?
That is unfortunately shared on that group text.
Oh.
So in other words, to the public,
Unfortunately, purposely.
he holds one face in private conversations with you and your colleagues within the unit. He shows a completely different face, private face, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You said that you believe that he has a constitutional right, a First Amendment right, to call Miss Reed a suspect in his official investigation, in his official capacity as a Massachusetts state trooper, to call her retarded? That's your justification?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you justify his
No.
statement, that
No.
vile statement?
I do not know.
Do you think it's appropriate, given the fact that he has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants?
No, I do not.
Do you think there actually might be members of the community, parents, siblings,
Objection.
children,
Mr. Jackson, I'm going to exclude that question as argumentative.
Oh.
Move on.
What a
You wrote in your report, if I
BITCH.
may have a moment, Your Honor. You wrote in your report about his conduct. He shows composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of his duties, and especially during his interactions with the public. He has a duty to the public, to the community that he serves, correct?
Yes, he does.
Just like you have a duty to the public and the community that you serve. Is that right?
That is correct.
Do you think community members might take offense to the use of the word retarded?
Sustained. It's argumentative again, Mr. Jackson. Please don't do that.
Bitch. We're held to a higher
He
standard,
didn't just
Brian.
put it, that derogatory comment. He didn't just put it, or he didn't just say it, correct? You talked about the First Amendment.
Objection.
Sustained.
I'm not finished with my question, if I could.
All right, so
Oh,
just
shit.
ask a question.
Sure.
No comments first, okay?
My question is, did he just say the word, or did he go further than just saying it?
Objection.
Okay, we've gone through this. Move on, please.
The fact is, Sergeant, you put it in writing and you liked it, correct?
Yep.
I acknowledge the text message. I never saw the vile term.
Your Honor, may we approach it just very briefly for a scheduling issue?
Okay, jurors, feel free to stand up and stretch.
Like I was saying, we're held to a higher standard.
Proctor discussed with you a previous relationship that he and or his family had with Chris and Julie Albert or their family.
Yes, as we're walking up to the door, he stated that he knows them from he knows of them from around town and through friendship.
Did that cause you any concern that the case officer that had been assigned to the case, dealing with, obviously, involving the Albert family, had a pre-existing familiarity or relationship with any members of the Albert family?
Yes, I followed up asking him if he hangs out with these people, how well he knows them, and he stated that he does not hang out with them. They're not his friends. He just happens to know them through people in town.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications he had related to Chris and Julie Albert?
No, he did not.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications he had, Michael Proctor had, with his sister as it pertained to Chris and Julie Albert?
No.
Did he volunteer any information about the relationship that he might have or his family might have, including his wife, with Chris and or Julie Albert?
That information not come up.
Did you ever later learn, now I'm taking it outside of your conversation with Michael Proctor, did you ever later learn about friendship or connection that he and his family, Michael Proctor's family, had with Chris and Julie Albert or the Albert family?
I've learned of accusations. I don't know the extent of how familiar they are.
What accusations have you learned?
Through trial or through court proceedings.
Right, what are they? We'll give you the nature of what you've learned.
Objection.
Sustained. We need a time frame.
Sure. When did you learn of these, of this information?
That was July of 2023, I believe.
And what
I agree.
were the circumstances in which you gained this knowledge?
There were accusations that Michael Proctor had familial friendship with these individuals, but the accusations were not factual.
Did you learn any specifics
Of,
of the allegations? Did you use the word allegations? Or I think you used the word accusations.
yes,
Were there any specifics?
there were.
You just said that there, what were some of the specifics?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, by the way, did you say that you learned of these accusations during the last proceeding in this case?
Not the last proceeding. I
Or
said
prior proceeding in this case?
it was through court proceedings.
Okay, how did you learn that specifically, Sergeant? Did you watch some of the proceedings? Were they televised? Did someone report it to you? What were the circumstances?
I was present in court.
This was what year? 2020, 2023?
Yes.
And did you take any action to investigate further the accusations that you said came up in 2023?
No. Well, yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, what did you do in that regard? What were the accusations and what did you do to investigate?
The information had been learned and that it was not factual. So
Okay, you're using the word information. Help me
What is
out. Details. What'd you learn?
there was claims that
I object.
Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
That damn guy's pissing me off, old Brennan. thought that was Bev. I thought that was Bev choking on the bullshit
Final
right now.
question, Sergeant. I think I asked this, but let me make sure I'm clear. Your interview, along with Michael Proctor, with Chris and Julie Albert, was February 10th, 2022, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not certain on that, but I believe it was.
Okay. Well, let me just clear that up real quick. Would it refresh your recollection to look at your report?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course it would. Refresh your recollection.
One of the few reports he wrote.
Does that refresh your recollection, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
What was the date?
February 10th.
Thank you. Okay. I want to move
It was
to.
probably 2 sentences.
2 words. The end.
Yeah,
back to
1-page
Canton
report
PD.
on a dead officer.
Did you at some point recover some videos or a series of electronic data that purported to be videos from Canton PD in furtherance of your investigation?
Yes.
And to whom did you deliver these videos, and whom were they requested by?
The initial request was by Michael Proctor. I delivered them to him.
Okay. Since that delivery, have you seen these videos?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
100% right, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm holding up a flash drive that I'd like to have, with the court's permission, I'd like to have marked as next in order for introduction, but I'll play the first couple of seconds of it and just establish the foundation first with the court's permission.
Have you shown it or discussed this with Mr. Brennan?
I've just discussed it with Mr. Brennan at the break.
What's the Commonwealth's position? I have no idea what it is.
You don't know what it is?
Sure, we can mark them. Yes. Mr. Brennan said he'd like to review them before they get entered into evidence. We can mark them for ID for purposes of.
Brandon said, what the hell are you doing,
I don't
Jackson?
expect no object, I just want to review.
Okay, so we'll mark it for identification, please, Madam Court Reporter.
Exhibit 3G for identification.
Just to establish the foundation so we know what we're talking about, did you see on some of the electronic devices that you picked up in furtherance of this investigation video of somebody outside, the outside cameras or outside camera view at Canton PD at about 1:30 in the morning on January 29th, 2022?
The digital video, one of the collection items, it wasn't a device, it was, well, I guess it is a device, but the digital storage that was collected had video from external view of the PD. I do not remember specifically seeing an individual, but
Okay.
I did review
Remember
it.
being of the parking lot area, at least one of them, one of the clips being of the parking lot area outside Canton PD?
I don't remember seeing outside parking lot. I'd have to see it.
I understand. Do you remember another clip being of the outside Sallyport with a pedestrian door?
Yeah, you saw it.
Roll-up door, pedestrian door, someone going in and out of the pedestrian door?
Yeah, Higgins?
I know the view you're talking about, but specifically what you're saying, I'd have to see the video, tell you if I saw it or not.
And I'm asking a couple of these other questions. I think I may know what the answer is. There's another, do you remember another video being an internal corridor, looking down a hallway, seeing someone walk up or back?
Yes,
Do you
yes,
remember that one?
I do.
Okay, and then one on the outside, again, sort of passing from right to left, may not be intended to a parking lot, but at least an outdoor view of someone moving from frame right to frame left across.
Yeah,
the-
he does.
the camera angle.
I don't remember that.
Do you remember that all these videos, I just mentioned 4, we've talked about 4, these videos were from January 29th, 2022, around generally 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning?
I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact time and date. I just remember seeing the file and reviewing it.
Do you remember Mr.
Of course.
Proctor asking for video attendant to January 29th? At least can we narrow it to that date?
We,
From Canton PD?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So these are all from January 29th, 2022. You just don't remember the specifics of them. It's been too long since you've seen them.
I don't know when each video was collected and then reviewed.
Okay.
Exactly.
With the court's permission, well, may I have just a moment to confer with counsel?
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
It almost seems like the Commonwealth has a chokehold on
Oh, I'm sorry.
AJ.
I
You
failed
know?
to ask you the time. I promised I would do it, and I forgot again. Can we look at the time real quick?
Yes, the time for the rear lot main side is 1:45:52,
And it appears that's the approximate time that the Jeep Wrangler drove off.
approximately, yes.
Okay, thank you. In are you friends with Brian Higgins?
I am not.
Do you know Brian Higgins?
I know who he is, yes.
Have you ever socialized with Brian Higgins?
Like Out on private time?
Go out, have a beer.
No.
See him at a bar. Hey, Brian, let's grab a beer. Nothing like that.
Private time? I'm going to
How long
have
have you
private
been-
time, Chief. Fuck.
It's like playtime.
I'd be speculating. It's before this case. He was a law enforcement individual that worked in the area. So I've had cases where he assisted on and that I've assisted on.
Would you consider yourself to have a professional relationship with him?
I knew he was. So yes, I would consider it a professional relationship.
But you would not consider your relationship to have gone over to the personal relationship? You don't
Not at all.
socialize, do any
No.
private
No.
get-togethers?
No.
Okay. You would agree that this video pretty clearly shows, at least at one point, around 1:34 a.m., Brian Higgins was on his phone.
Is that the one that he has the device by his face?
Correct.
Yeah.
It appears that way, yes.
Device by your
And
face.
just to
could
be
use
clear,
me
when you
phone.
interviewed Mr. Higgins, he did not volunteer to give you his phone, correct?
He did not volunteer, no.
And you didn't seek his phone through a warrant or any other mechanism?
I did not know.
Do you have any personal knowledge as to the status of that phone as we sit here today?
I
The
do.
one that he got the extractions from?
Correct.
No idea, no.
Yeah.
I want to shift gears to another
There it is.
series of videos. Last year at another proceeding, you were asked about a couple of
Smash
videos
that like button.
from the interior Sallyport garage at Canton PD. So now we're going to move to the interior. You remember those series of questions and answers that you gave?
Generally,
Okay.
Yeah.
You were asked at another proceeding to describe when the SUV, Ms. Reed's SUV, first arrived at the Sallyport garage around 5:30 or so, correct?
based on my recollection of it first arriving or what we were viewing?
What you were viewing.
I'm objecting to this.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Do you remember being asked a series of questions concerning the arrival of the SUV, just in general?
I remember that it happened. I don't remember the exact questions, what my answers were.
And you remember seeing a video about which you were asked questions concerning the arrival of that SUV, pulling into the Sallyport, who was who, what the time frame was generally. Do you remember that colloquy, that discussion?
I remember it taking place, yes.
That was Mr. Lally asking you questions, correct?
I believe so.
Under questioning by the Commonwealth, you were asked whether the video that you were looking at fairly and accurately represented the SUV arriving at the Sallyport garage, correct?
Yes.
And you indicated, in fact, it did fairly and accurately depict the arrival of the SUV at the Sallyport garage. Is that right?
That's correct.
A conversation that you had with Michael Proctor either during or just before or just after that first interview with Chris and Julie Albert. What I'd like to ask you is, what information did you have and what did you ultimately learn about their relationship? You said there were some accusations and we never really got to the heart of it. What did you know and what did you do to investigate? What did you learn?
What I knew as we were walking up to the door is that he had knowledge of the individuals prior to us conducting the interview. I asked him if he knew them personally. My words, do you hang out with them? Do you socialize with them? He said, no, I do not. I said, are you comfortable doing this interview? And he said, yes. And me being a complete outsider and his supervisor and realizing if there was any impropriety that I would step in and recognize it, report it, and act on that. The interview was conducted without issue, and we moved on.
As a matter of fact, one of the things in Trooper Proctor's report, it said, the report started with following formal introductions. Did that suggest to you that Trooper Proctor had no knowledge of who Chris or Julie Albert were from a personal standpoint?
Not at all. I believe maybe I wrote the report, or was it him?
I think it is you.
Yeah, so
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Just so you have it.
thank you. Yeah, since I authored the report, I wrote following formal introductions since I've never met them before.
Okay, so that was more attended to you than to Michael Proctor.
Correct.
Okay, but the report does say we introduced ourselves, basically. Following formal introductions.
Greeted, but I had formal introductions to them. I've never met them before in my life.
You said that subsequently you learned about, your word, accusations that had been made concerning possible relationship between Michael Proctor and the Alberts. What was that information that you learned?
When was it? I need that.
When did you learn it? I thought you said 2023, but I could be wrong. When did you learn that?
It was I believe, during the July motion proceedings when you guys had pictures up of children.
July what year?
I believe 2023.
Okay. And what was it that you learned?
Hey,
in July
Steve, pause it for a
2023
sec.
about the potential.
The accusations?
Yeah.
So, Brian, let me ask you this. In our 20-year career, how many times did somebody bring up an old officer and his reputation? Right? You didn't know this guy from Adam, right?
Mm-hmm.
But his reputation would carry on, like Sergeant Pinu, right? His reputation is still probably carrying on with the Young Dugs, right? So
He was a legend.
well, same thing. I'm assuming the same thing with Brian Albert, right? He's quote unquote a top dog there. They even had a little series, TV series following him, right?
Yeah.
So he might say he might not know him, but he does know of him. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, in that small town like that, yeah, they all know each other. You know, they run into each other. They're working cases together, and you see each other in the hallway, in the rooms. Hey, how you doing? Not saying you go out drinking with them all the time, but you know who they are.
But even if you go to a bar, you're gonna have 4 or 5 cops, 6 cops, 10. Even if it's a cop bar, that's gonna be full of cops.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So the chances
I
of
would think.
Brian Albert being there and him being there, if he does drink, I'm not sure. Right? Hey, there's Brian Albert. Oh yeah, but whatever, right? So paths have crossed at some point.
In that small town, yeah, I would believe if everyone goes to the Waterfall all the time, yeah, eventually all the cops will get to know all law enforcement will get to know each other.
If you get free pizza, you're gonna have like every cop in the fucking neighborhood hanging out there.
Yeah, free pizza. Yeah.
Right? Free pizza and beer. It's all in the house.
Hit that like button, people.
All right, Steve, roll it.
No numbers drop. This is a short one, hour 23. You can hang in there with us.
That those were Albert's or McCabe's kids in the photograph with Michael Proctor?
Okay. Did you ever learn about personal communications that Michael Proctor or his wife may have had with any of the Albert family, including Julie Albert?
Ever?
Ever.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when you learned that and what you learned.
Yeah.
In that order.
Well, Michael Proctor had communicated with those individuals, Elizabeth Proctor communicated with those individuals due to the harassment that they've sustained.
Okay.
So with the crazy behavior that's been imposed on them and the torturous harassment that they've endured, the traumatic experiences they've had to live through, they've communicated. So I've learned about that, yes. I was taking in all of that evidence, hundreds and pieces of evidence that I've archived in order to
Pizza and donuts.
Go ahead. In order to.
investigate it.
Okay. We're talking about Elizabeth Proctor well after the fact of the interview and the incident in 2022. That's what you were just describing.
It was after the harassment started, yes.
Which is well after January 29, 2022, right?
January 20, yes, it is.
Okay. I'm asking about information related to a relationship prior to January 29, 2022. Did you ever learn about a pre-existing relationship that may have existed between the Proctor family and the Albert family before January 29, 2022, and maybe a couple of days after?
All I know is that there was a relationship explanation provided by Mr. Lally during one of the motions, and it was like 6 degrees separated by individuals residing in the community, living in the community, raising their kids in the community, working in the community, so making them community members and having relationship within that. I don't know the extent of those relationships.
Okay. Did you, during that hearing where you said there were pictures of the kids and et cetera, that July 2023 hearing, did you see a post, a Facebook post during the course of that hearing wherein the
Thank you, Sally.
Albert
Thank you,
family
Sally.
called the Proctor family their second family, or vice versa, where the Proctor family, Michael Proctor's mother, they called the Alberts their second family? You remember that Facebook post?
I don't remember seeing that post. I just remember there were like a picture of kids that weren't Michael Proctor's kids.
Okay, but you were in court that day.
I was in court in July. I believe it was 23rd of July, for
Okay.
the motion, yeah.
Leaving aside the photographs that you've talked about, did you see the post, the Facebook post about those two families, specifically Michael Proctor's mom, saying that the Alberts were their, quote, second family?
I don't remember seeing that post.
That didn't strike you, or that was not in your brain, in your head?
I don't think I've ever seen a post like that, so I just remember seeing the post of the kids.
What
I believe
about,
it was Miss Little that was holding up the poster.
what about the text messages, or what about any text messages between Michael Proctor and his sister concerning Julie Albert, very specifically concerning Julie Albert? Are you aware of those?
No.
Have you ever seen a text message between Julie Albert, between Courtney Proctor and, it's Courtney.
Too many names.
And Michael Proctor, where the sister says, Julie wants to give you a gift because you're doing such a great job in leading this, meaning this investigation. Are you aware of that?
No.
Are you aware of a text message in which Michael Proctor responds, get it for my wife? Meaning, if you're going to give us a gift, get the gift for my wife.
No idea.
Okay. Are you aware of a series of text messages between and among Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor in which they talk about, between Michael Proctor and Courtney Proctor, in which they talk about Julie Albert? This is 10 days before the incident, 10 days before January 29th, so mid-January, where they talk about the possibility of Julie Albert babysitting for Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor's kids.
I am not aware of those text
This is
messages.
the first you've heard of any of those.
Of these text messages?
The text messages
Yeah.
that I'm describing, have you ever heard of any of those?
No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to or investigate the circumstance of the possibility, even the remote possibility, that Michael Proctor may have had a relationship with the Alberts that you were unaware of?
No, I never investigated anything like that.
So after your initial conversation with Mr. Proctor, where he said, I know of these people, and you said, is there any issue with you going forward? And he said, no, there's no issue. You took no further steps after that to investigate that relationship. And I'm talking about the relationship that existed on or around January 29th, 2022, not in 2023, not in 2024.
Once Michael Proctor stated that he was comfortable conducting the interview, and I asked him if he was sure, and he said yes, we moved on.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Hey, pause it, Steve.
I can see that, but he should have looked into it because it's such a small town with such a big name. You gotta, as a supervisor, you gotta take it go a couple steps
It's
further.
almost a little bit of a conflict of interest, just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, come on, man. You babysitting your kids?
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Well, even when she says, "I want to get you a gift," right?
Yeah, yeah. Who gets?
You can't do that.
Have you ever gotten a gift?
No. If anything, I'd say, you know what? Send something to the department,
I'm
right?
still waiting for my gift.
Send something to the area command.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Send something to the troops, the guys on the front line. Yeah.
Listen, living in Vegas, you get offered a lot of money all the time, and you can't take it because you're giving your integrity away.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
No,
You know?
no. Yeah.
Even-
Vegas is a weird town. You do come across some weird scenarios that you couldn't even script, but yeah, it's
Well, even when we go eat, they give us a free meal, but we always paid it with our tips.
we always
You
tip
know?
out whatever the meal costs. If it's $15 and they give it to us for free, I leave $15. That
Yep.
way they get a good tip, right?
Yep.
That's how we
Yep.
do it.
Roll, Steve.
You awake, Steve? You with us? You guys there? Quiet out there. Can't see you.
Last couple of questions. Were you in court? I know you're indicating that you've never heard about these text messages. Were you in court in February of 2024 following the federal investigation revelation, the documents that we got from both sides got from the federal investigation, which revealed in open court the text messages about gift giving between Courtney Proctor and Michael Proctor? Hey, Judy wants to get you a gift, and Michael Proctor's response was, get it for Elizabeth, get it for my wife. Were you in court or those were revealed?
Following the harassment, intimidation that I experienced on the 23rd, being followed into the bathroom, then being followed outside, I stopped coming to court proceedings due to that. So I was not in court in February of 2024. And describing the information that you're revealing. I was not aware of that
Did you
detail.
review all of these proceedings are televised? Sorry, you know that, right?
Whatever, man.
I'm not aware that it's televised, no.
You're not
I
Pause
know
that,
it
please.
streams, but I'm not aware that it's televised.
Wait, I can pause it.
However, whatever you want to call it.
Gonzo, have you ever been scared to go to court?
No,
You ever been scared to go into the court bathroom and urinate?
no.
Okay. Just checking. Just checking. Hey, what happened to the...
Gonzo's frozen.
Am I frozen?
You're frozen.
Yeah, you are frozen.
You got resting
Hold
Gonzo face.
Hold
Resting
on.
Gonzo. Steve's got to fix that. Hold on. Good
Hold
thing
on.
Steve's here.
No, I'm not doing it. I don't have control of this camera, but
Sure you do. You always do. You say you don't, but you really do. Steve lies.
here, let's freak Brian out for a second.
It's not working. I can't add myself. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I
We can
can't
hear
add my camera, so it's just going to be you on camera.
You know, every time we do a live, something happens, people. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Gonzo,
Hold on.
just exit the studio and come back in.
How come
Hold on.
nobody else has trouble doing lives? You know, I watch The Glare, I watch LTL, I watch The Young Jerks, I watch Melanie Little, Emily Baker. Why are we the only ones? I seriously, we are the only ones that have problems ever. Like, sorry, people.
It's entertaining, right? Hopefully.
It is, what does Emily say? It's dynamic. Streaming is a dynamic business, people. And
Yeah.
sometimes things happen.
Here's some more video. We'll get Gonzo back in a minute.
Yeah, let's play the video. So
You
they can,
can find it.
You can, yes.
They're recorded.
Right.
Did you ever review the hearing in February 2024?
hear them sirens?
Talking about what's been referred to as the Fed dump and the revelations that were made pursuant to that federal investigation and the text messages attendant there too.
I am aware of a Fed dump. I'm aware that it exists. I was not privileged to any information outside of the information that was revealed to me during the internal affairs investigation.
Right.
That was the first time I saw documents from that federal investigation.
By the way, were you privy to, Michael, there were 3 individuals involved in the investigation, yourself, Lieutenant Tully, and Michael Proctor, is that right?
What
The
investigation?
internal affairs investigation.
I'm aware that I was. I know they were as well. I don't know who else might have been involved. I don't know.
When, in terms of your awareness of Michael Proctor's investigation,
Do you know?
you're aware, obviously, that he's terminated, correct?
I am aware that he's terminated, yes.
Did you ever see or were privy to any of the documents or investigative materials associated with his termination as his supervisor?
No, no.
So nothing was ever shared with you, the final
Other than-
decision?
Other than the documents that he was attached in the text.
Okay, all right. Do you want to be heard, Mr. Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not letting any of this in.
I think it's all invisible, but I.
Why would you?
The was, if he doesn't have personal knowledge of it, didn't have it then you're not going to let it in, it's over our objection, but that's been noted.
Okay, so you got your voir dire, and I'm glad we fleshed it all out. So
What
we have to be back
a
here in 35 minutes.
You got your idea.
Is the jury coming back, Paul?
idea.
Picks him going to that portion of the vehicle.
This is
but
Proctor
you
at the
can't tell
car.
how close he is.
Okay. And the back, from all appearances, importantly, it appears to be the back driver's side, back left of the vehicle, correct?
That's the way it appears, yes.
Let's play this forward for a second. Pause. Can I ask you to pay special note to the far rear side of the vehicle? Do you see what appears to be Mr. Proctor's head?
Yeah.
Yes.
As the tow truck driver walks past the rear of the vehicle, can you watch and tell me if you see Mr. Proctor do anything or move in any way? Let's go ahead and play it forward. Pause. Did you see any volitional movement by Mr. Proctor as the tow truck driver moved past him?
Yes, it appears if that is his head, it shifted weight.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it forward. Stop. Did you see a person that appeared to morph toward the back of the
ghost.
vehicle?
Yeah, it was a ghost.
There was some
Poltergeist.
anomaly there with the footage, so could possibly be used to describe that what took place.
Can you recognize that person?
I cannot know.
You indicated previously, does that person look large or small in stature?
I can't tell.
As compared to, for instance, Michael Proctor, whose head you can see above the car. What about this person? Taller, shorter than Michael Proctor?
I can't tell from here. I can't.
You indicated
Is that
that
Higgins?
Chief
Ryan
Berkowitz
Higgins?
was a smaller statured person, correct?
I never said that.
Higgins and Proctor.
I didn't know his height.
Larger or smaller? Generally. How about this? Larger or smaller than you?
He's shorter than me.
Okay. Can you tell whether or not that is Chief Berkowitz?
I cannot know.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it for him. And a little bit further.
And
Pause.
who might you be?
What does
Who's
it
that?
appear that Mr. Proctor does at this point in the video?
He's walking.
Okay, do you see anything in his hand?
Crowbar.
I cannot tell from the video, but he might be carrying something.
Remember we looked previously at a portfolio, black portfolio. Does it appear that he may have a black portfolio in his hand?
That is very likely, but I don't know exactly what he's carrying.
Okay, let's go ahead and play this forward.
Portfolio with 43
Bigfoot
pieces in
videos.
it.
Okay, and did it appear that somebody just appeared at the front right, or sorry, the right-hand side of the screen toward the front of the SUV as well?
Yes, it appears that way, yes.
Okay, let's take this down. I'd like to mark.
So weird because it's inverted, you know?
Yeah.
Very weird. Only one reason to do that, we know.
They know where the cameras are at.
I have another electronic device, a thumb drive. It has another video on it, Your Honor. I'd like to have that marked as next in order for permission.
So there's no objection, Mr. Wright?
No objection, thank you.
119.
With the court's permission?
Yes.
Now, Sergeant, what does this show?
It appears to be the mirror image of the previous
He clarified
footage.
that
I don't
real
know
quick.
the exact timestamp there, but
Can we increase the date and time?
Hard to see that, huh?
Do you see?
Yeah.
Can you read the date and time stamp on this Chiron?
I cannot know.
It's because it's backwards,
No.
correct?
I can't read it. I can't make it out, sir.
Can you make it any bigger, Mr. Wolf?
Yeah.
It's backwards. Dipshit.
It's inverted.
Does that appear to be
One
backwards?
reason to invert video. One reason.
Based on me recognizing some of the digits, it does appear to be backwards.
Okay, let's look at the whole screen again.
We don't know.
Sergeant, let's play this forward for just a quick second. Pause. Do you see Michael Proctor in this video?
Yep.
I believe that's him. Yes.
And which side, and let's start with this. Do you agree that this is the correct version of the camera angle and the SUV as it pulled into the Sallyport?
This is the footage. The way that is depicted right now is very accurately very accurately represents what I remember from being there.
In fact, this side of the vehicle that we're looking at that's closest to us, that I'm highlighting on the screen to your right, that is in fact the driver's side of the vehicle, not the passenger side of the vehicle. Is that correct?
That is correct.
The far side over here would be the right rear of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which area is Michael Proctor walking to? The left rear or the right rear in this footage?
It appears if that's him, he's walking to the right rear of the vehicle.
Can we play this forward? And do you see Mr. Proctor's head above the SUV?
Yes.
And watch him as the tow truck driver walks by. Did he appear to move?
Yep.
He shifted weight. Yes.
And it appears that there's another person that showed up in the footage, an anomaly of some sort,
Yep.
walking off screen left to right. Is that right?
Got beamed
That's what it
in.
appears. Yes.
Is Mr. Proctor
Happens.
still at the right rear taillight area?
He's in that general vicinity. Yes.
Let's go ahead and play it forward. A little bit further. Pause. Can you see anything in his hand? Let me just ask it. Closed in. Do you see the portfolio in his hand?
It would not be unlikely that it's there, but I can't tell exactly what it is in his hand.
Let's play it forward. Do you see anything in his hand now as his arm?
Yes, yes.
Does it appear to be consistent with the black portfolio that we saw earlier?
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
yes.
Let's move forward. And he is now off screen, correct?
Yes.
So, in point of fact, Sergeant, when you were asked previously whether the prior video fairly and accurately depicted what you recall as it pertains to the SUV and the Sallyport, that was not quite true, correct?
I'll allow it.
Whoa, Bev.
The way I understood the question is what I'm watching accurately depicts what's taking place. It is. Just because it's a mirror image doesn't mean that it's not recording what the actions and what is transpiring.
But
You're
you
hiding.
believe, at least, that the previous video showed
Your actions. You're hiding
exactly
actions.
the opposite of what was true and correct, not
Yes.
just a mirror image. What is
No.
left is right, and what is right is left, correct?
And it's all fucked up. It's not a mirror image.
Stages to that form.
Would you agree that in point of fact, a mirror image video is not a true and accurate depiction of what's depicted in a scene?
No. No, everything looks backwards.
I think it just is a mirror image of what's taking place. If you see someone walking in or driving a vehicle and it's depicting the action of the vehicle being pulled in, and if it's mirrored, it's pulling in from left to right or right to left. It's still documenting the activity that's taking place.
But it's
Or
not
if someone
accurate.
walks to the left rear of the vehicle versus the right rear of the vehicle, those two things will be switched, correct?
Yes, it's not accurate.
That is correct, yes.
And you'll agree that the prior video that we showed, that you and I just talked about, the inverted video, appeared for all intents and purposes to show Michael Proctor stay away from the left, from the right rear taillight, walk all the way around, and position himself to the left rear taillight. You would agree with that, correct?
Objection.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. What are you objecting to that for?
It appeared that that is what was happening, but he was standing next to the taillight that was already damaged.
But in the corrected video, which is this one, it actually shows unequivocally that Michael Proctor walked directly to the right rear taillight portion of this SUV. Correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. In the corrected video, this video
Yeah.
here, this unequivocally shows that Michael Proctor walked toward the right rear area of that SUV, where the right taillight is, correct?
Yes.
And you'll also
Thank you.
agree
That'd be something.
that this video was taken before any taillight material was ever found at 34 Fairview, correct?
Can you zoom in on the time?
Not on this one, this is backwards.
Just say
I
it.
know that the SUV pulled into the garage, the Sallyport, at 5:35, and we were still on scene at 5:51, almost 52. So, yes, if
Oh, you
that's the
remember
timestamp
that.
before 5:51, before we left Canton PD, then yes, taillight pieces had already been found.
So 5:35, 5:37 is before the first taillight pieces were found. All right.
Yeah.
I'd have to see a timestamp of when they were exactly found, but if
Let me
that,
ask it a different way. 5:37,
Just make it up now.
5:35,
Fuck it.
before 5:45.
yes.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
You may.
I would ask him, why would that video
Oh,
be
hold on.
inverted?
They have no idea where we are, who we are, where we're coming from, or who we're throwing to.
Yeah, I like it. John Madden,
Yeah,
no clue.
yeah, I know. The whole it's inverted. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, there is. It's fucking inverted, dude. It's wrong.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
trying to hide shit.
Sergeant,
So come
Canton
on,
PD
man.
is about a mile and a half from 34 Fairview, is that right?
Approximately. I don't know the exact distance. I never measured it, but I would not be shocked if you were accurate in that.
Maybe a 3 or 4 minute drive.
Depending on the traffic conditions and the weather conditions, that could be a possibility, depending on the speed you travel.
He's just pretending to be an idiot. You know?
I'm sorry. Your Honor, I have a photograph that I'd like to have marked with the court's permission. If I may approach.
Marked for identification.
Mark for identification for the time being.
Okay.
Almost done, people. Not much more.
May I approach?
Yes. Let's mark it first, please.
Did you watch any of the video with the car and they had it real dark? I cut that out because.
Thank you. Let me ask you a couple of other questions. We just looked at the videos of the interior of the
No, I didn't.
Sallyport.
Yeah, it was
Harkening back
dark.
to what we just looked at, the corrected video. There would also be a camera on the other side of that Sallyport garage, pointing down toward the right rear taillight area of the SUV, correct?
Yes.
There's a camera situated on the opposite side. We'd be looking at that camera, correct?
Yes.
Okay, taking a look at that photograph. I know the quality of it, but can you tell if that appears to be a still image from that camera?
Look
I
hard.
can't determine that.
Look
I can't
hard.
make that determination.
Yes, it appears to be a still image from that video
Oh,
camera.
I'd
wow.
ask that this be moved to evidence, Your Honor.
Is there an objection?
No objection, thank you. Thank you. If we could display this for the jurors, Your Honor, just the photograph.
Okay.
Do you see what's depicted? I know the photograph that you're holding is very poor quality. It's a little easier with this lighting. Do you recognize what's depicted in this photograph?
I'm sorry, your laser was bouncing off into the ceiling. I
I'm trying to make
apologize.
it easier for you.
Yeah.
This photograph here.
That appears to be the seized SUV belonging to the defendant with it being situated inside the Sallyport.
And what is that vehicle there?
It's an antique police cruiser.
And who is this person?
I
Proctor.
do not know who that is.
Does that look like Michael Proctor?
Looks like Proctor.
I don't know. I'd have to get a zoom in. I don't know.
Head.
What's he doing? Oh, he's breaking pieces off.
I
I know.
don't know.
That's him.
Oh.
100%.
He's
That's
sure
him.
Could be Chief
spending a
Burgess.
lot of
I don't
time.
know.
He's spending a lot of time there.
Yep.
Why are they at the back of that
Can you tell
car
the date that's on the
so much?
the date and
Right
timestamps
on.
at the bottom?
Why is he back there?
I
So many
cannot. I
times.
think I might be able to make it out in the actual photograph you printed out. Could I
Okay.
take a look at that?
Sure.
Need the light?
Yes, please.
Car
Your Honor.
comes in, you secure it, you leave.
Yeah.
I-
No hanky panky. No hanky panky.
Yeah, you got no Ziggy Piggies running around and back of the car, walking around, come back to the car, then he leaves, then he
It
comes back to
appears
the
the
car.
time is
Why do you gotta go back so
11:08
much?
and 59 seconds in the morning of possibly January 30th of 2022.
Okay. Let's go ahead and pull this back out full frame.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, do you have a point of reference? Does that appear to be the interior camera facing the other direction where the SUV was depicted in the Sallyport earlier?
It's the opposite of what we had viewed earlier, diagonally
Yeah.
across, I believe.
So this would be
See?
the right rear of the vehicle, correct?
That
It's
is
a
correct.
picture,
Now
you
I'd like
can't
to
even
ask you to
describe
take a
it.
look at the video. Now that we have that point of reference.
It's a mirror image. It's a mirror
Yeah.
image.
You were just asked about Brian Higgins in your interview with Brian Higgins. Where did that take place?
In Sharon at an attorney's office.
At his lawyer's house, correct?
I'm not sure if he resides there, but it was an office.
With his lawyer.
It looked like a
present,
house.
correct?
Yes.
Did you find that unusual?
Objection.
Sustained.
He wasn't under arrest, correct?
No.
You hadn't read him his rights.
No need to know.
No need to, because he wasn't in custody, correct?
Correct.
He was just a witness in a case that you're investigating.
That's correct.
But he asked that you interview him in his lawyer's presence, correct?
Yes.
You were asked about any evidence of Brian Higgins having a motive to murder John O'Keefe just a few minutes ago by Mr. Brennan, right?
Yes.
And you said, no, I didn't find a motive that Brian Higgins would want to murder John O'Keefe. Is that right?
That's right.
What about a motive to confront him about a girl he was interested in? Did you see that?
I believe the text messages speak for themselves. Everybody heard me read them out loud.
Yep, the text messages do, but I'm asking you. You were just asked about your opinion, whether or not there was a motive that you found for Brian Higgins to want to murder John O'Keefe. I'm asking you.
Copy that, Steve.
Did you, in your mind, in your opinion, after having read those texts, find a motive for Brian Higgins to perhaps want to confront John O'Keefe because of jealousy?
If you're asking for my opinion is that he would need to confront Mr. O'Keefe. Mr. O'Keefe was not the one pursuing Mr. Higgins. It was your client that was pursuing Mr. Higgins.
Okay, so, well, text messages, like you said, speak for themselves. You'll agree with that. It showed that there was a mutual interest, right? It just wasn't one-sided.
At times there was flattering text messages from both sides, but your client reached out to him first.
Right. I mean, somebody's got to reach out, right? Everybody's got to reach out to somebody. First, someone's got to do it first, right?
Exactly.
It depends.
Yep. Doesn't mean that there's not mutual affection for one another. Is that right? Or at least perceived mutual affection.
I don't understand the question.
Did you see
Oh my God.
messages in your mind a motive that might lead to jealousy on the part of Brian Higgins?
Yeah.
No, I think Brian Higgins was pretty clear in his request for explanation of what the defendant wanted out of this, and stated that he's friends with Mr. O'Keefe. So he wanted clarity from the defendant about what was going on.
Actually, sorry, go ahead.
I didn't read it to be that he was jealous, as I sit here thinking back on the content.
What about after drinking Jameson and ginger all night long and sending a text that said, well?
Yeah. Objection.
Don't allow that.
Where are you at? Where are you
That
at?
change things?
Twice, remember?
No, that's he's talking about when Higgins was sending messages to Karen. You
Karen,
what I'm
I know.
saying?
Yep, I know.
Are you
But
going
then
to
that
talk
night-
to me? Remember, he said, "Are you going to come over?" It was like, "Oh well, are you going to come over and talk to me?" Because she was giving him the cold shoulder.
Yeah, she ghosted him, man. She ghosted him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
but that's what I'm saying.
was-
And then later that night, where you at? Where you at? From Jen or whoever sent him that. I forget who texted him that. But that when you say where you at? Where you at? Like I am expecting you. You should be here already. Why are you not here? Where are you?
yeah, if Higgy would have just completely ignored her text messages, I could see him, that
Yeah.
that angle go away. But he pursued it.
Correct. Yeah. I think there could have been a little thing there with them.
A little something.
I don't know what Mr. Higgins' state of
Never
mind
know.
was. Well, could mean many different things. They could have had a face-to-face interaction, a look. We'd be strictly speculating what was intended by that, or what was the intent of communication by that text message.
After weeks of communicating with Ms. Reed in a romantic manner, and then seeing her walk in the door with John O'Keefe and sending the text message, well, after having been intoxicated, you see that detective as an investigator, as a reasonable, objective investigator, as a possible scenario for Brian Higgins to be jealous about John O'Keefe.
I agree.
There's a possibility there, but I didn't see it.
Did you explore that possibility when you got all these text messages?
We did not follow up on that aspect based on the totality of the entire investigation.
Did you pull the tape at the Waterfall and review the tape as we did here in court?
That happened, yes.
Okay. Did you see on the tape a time just before Brian Higgins left the location where he was confronted by Chris Albert?
Objection.
Change the wording.
Sure. Did you see a circumstance, did you see a situation on that tape where Brian Higgins is standing and Chris Albert physically puts his hand on Brian Higgins' arm, on his left arm?
I don't have a specific memory of that.
You remember a circumstance on that tape where Brian Higgins pulled his arm away and looked past Chris Albert over toward the bar, which is where John O'Keefe was standing. You see that?
I do remember you pointing that out, but we couldn't tell him who exactly he was looking at based on the video.
Did you see a circumstance in which Brian Higgins then put his hand on his forehead and began rubbing his forehead like this?
I don't have a memory of that.
Did you see a circumstance in which he then motioned over toward that side of the bar with his left hand?
That I remember, yes.
Did that seem realistic to you? Let me ask it a different way. Did that seem to you as a reasonable interpretation? Hey, come on outside. Come here.
Very reasonable, since they've been invited to 34 Fairview.
Did it look, in your opinion, that was hey, let's go together, or did it look more to you like, hey, come outside?
Yeah.
Or let's step outside.
The totality of the investigation, the fact that when they stepped outside, there was no confrontation and they were invited to the address. Again, totality of the investigation suggests otherwise.
Let's talk about that totality of the investigation. You're aware that Brian Higgins left first. He was the first to arrive at 34 Fairview, even before Brian Allen.
I am, yes.
And you're also aware that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed were among the last to arrive. So they didn't step outside together.
They didn't step outside, but once he was invited, according to your narrative, wouldn't they have a discussion outside where he was invited to come out?
So, Mr. Jackson, I just want to ask you, how much longer?
Not long. I can finish this up if you give me 10 minutes.
Yeah, a few minutes left, folks.
Jurors are saying yes. Is it okay with all the jurors? We usually break it 4.
I don't want to overstep. I'm happy to stop now, but I think I can get finished.
I'd like to finish with this witness and not have to go back against Warren. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the accommodation.
He's so nice.
You're aware that, according to the tape,
I
John
think you're
O'Keefe
right.
left about 10 minutes
I'm
after
agreeing.
Brian Higgins. Or so.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. You would agree, as a homicide investigator, not every death starts off as an intended murder, correct?
I will agree to that.
Sometimes a fight could go wrong, and you intend to fight and duke it out. Something goes wrong, something goes south, someone dies, correct?
Objection.
Is that something that you can always be on the scope? So, either one.
You were asked on redirect examination about taillight pieces that were found by the CERT team. I want to ask you real quick about that. Your testimony was you recall that the CERT team found a large piece of red taillight material during their initial search. Is that correct?
That's my recollection, yes.
Okay.
Huge piece.
Did the CERT, you had a debriefing with the CERT team, correct?
Not the CERT team. I had a debrief with the members of our unit at the Canton PD conference room. I do not have a memory of the CERT team being there.
Do you recall ever being told or informed that the CERT team actually recovered maybe 5 or 6 pieces, maybe 7 pieces of small plastic material in addition to the shoe? As opposed to a large piece of red taillight.
The memory that stands out to me that I have is that there was a large piece of plastic recovered. It wasn't a shard. It was significant enough that, shown on the photograph taken by Detective Lieutenant Tully.
And
It was like
do
a
you
fucking
recall that
boomerang.
The CERT team, were you ever informed that the CERT team found
Some
those
Australians looking for
CERT
it.
team,
Fucking huge.
Within inches of one another, within about a 2-foot square radius?
I don't have a memory of where they found
Of course.
them exactly. I wasn't there.
Okay.
Very selective memory, sir. Very
You were asked
selective.
about
I was gonna say that,
the
dude.
taillight. You were shown a photograph of the taillight, where almost the entirety of that lens material is missing, gone, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you remember talking to Jen McCabe.
Hey, Brian, I'm gonna pause it for 1 second.
Pause it.
So let me ask you this: we've talked about it, right?
Right.
So any critical incident that you've been involved in, right? Let me flick this. Let me flick this so we can see each other a little better. You can pretty much remember everything about it, right?
Yep.
You might have to review a report. It's going to flash back in your head, right? Maybe not now. We're a few years away from the job, but when we're on the job pushing it black and white, we can regurgitate pretty much everything that we had our hands on,
Yep.
right? Everything that I did, I could remember, right? Anything that you told me that you did, if we're on a case together, I could regurgitate that, right?
Yep.
So for him to say, you know what, I don't remember that, maybe I do remember that, it doesn't sit right with me, dude, especially in this case right here.
I know. He's lying. He remembers. He remembers. I mean, I could tell you very critical details about a lot of critical incidents I've been in right now that happened 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
He's not telling the truth, people. He remembers.
He's just trying to protect his department.
Yeah. This is the scene that everybody keeps going back to because it keeps giving them evidence. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's the first living scene. Gonzo, can we call that a living scene? It gives.
Yeah, it's
It just
breathing.
It just keeps giving and pushing out of the dirt, all this evidence. It's amazing.
Yeah. It just baffles me. It really does.
Yeah, I know. Drives me
Let's
nuts.
roll. Let's roll.
Yeah, we're almost done. Like 5 minutes.
This incident happened, correct?
It was the 29th. We
As a matter
interviewed.
of fact, the day.
That day is.
Do you remember her saying that the tail light
Iris,
was
exactly.
cracked/broken?
She communicated that over the phone to Michael Proctor, which was then documented later on in the interview report
Okay.
from
In that
earlier.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And it was documented within the interview report.
Okay. And in that interview report, it doesn't say the entire lens cap.
Why is Jen calling the cops, telling everybody that she's got a crack? Why aren't the cops looking at the vehicle? If they're thinking it was she hit him, why are they even worried about that? Why are they listening to Jen? Why don't you go do your job? All right, I don't get that. Whatever. Lito, I was just about to play.
What'd you do? What button did
I
you
didn't do
hit?
anything.
What button you hit, Brian?
You're lying. You hit that button. You're messing with me. You're messing with me.
Right?
Correct. The report does not say that, no.
And she didn't describe that, did she?
I don't know what she described to Michael Proctor over the phone.
You pulled
Not
out a
on the
pair of
report.
jeans, belonging to Mr. O'Keefe just a second ago.
Anywhere.
Yes.
And you noted that on his, what would be his left rear pocket, there was a stain.
Yes.
You said that was an apparent grass stain. And
Yeah.
it's green.
Two big grass.
Based on
stains.
my observation here holding them, that's what it appeared. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe dirt, maybe other substances.
That was my question.
Grass.
Did you seek to analyze what that discoloration is from? Or have caused that to be analyzed by the crime lab or anybody else?
Me?
The genes were processed. I don't know what their protocol is to analyze it. They process those genes. There's pieces missing from cuttings and stuff like that.
Understood. So as you sit here, you have no evidence at all that those are grass stains, correct?
Strictly my experience of knowing grass stains and observing it.
Oh,
Could be dirt.
and you're training.
Oh, the
Could be.
training experience.
Could be oil at least.
I don't know about that, but
They look brown. Stains look brown, doesn't it?
there's different parts of the stain. Some has brown, some has green, different parts of it.
Could you get,
How do you get those
in
things?
your experience, stains on the back of pants from being dragged?
I've never dragged anybody, so from my experience, I can't tell you.
I didn't
Oh,
ask
I'm
if you
sure
were
you
dragged
have.
anybody. You've never murdered anybody either, but you're a homicide investigator, right? Did you get those stains from being dragged? This is a common sense question.
My common sense dictates that it was not a drag, a mark, because it would have linear characterizations, and it would be both buttocks that are engaged in contact with the ground while being dragged.
Or if he was being dragged and he had something in his pocket.
Holy shit, he sounds like he's being coached, G. Did you hear what he just said? I don't even think he knows what he just said. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That
Listen.
came out of his mouth. That came out way too smooth, and he's using big words now. And you know what we say right along is you start using big words, we take that as a sign of disrespect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I don't understand them.
All
The
right.
thing is, though, in a dramatic situation like that, you're not going to grab him by the shoulders. You're not going to grab him by the legs. If there's multiple people that are dragging him, you're going to grab one arm, one leg, and you're going to drag what you can grab, right?
Look, the grass stains were pretty big and they're pretty apparent. How are you going to get those people? You know what I mean? Bounce, land. You know, we all get grass stains, right? Usually you got to dig a little bit, right? You got to rub.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I got an angle. Dragged through a crease spot. It was only on the left. What about all those possibilities?
Again, my opinion, common sense dictates it was not the case.
I don't think you have common sense, sir.
No,
But
sir.
you
think
certainly
you can
didn't take
speak
any
on
action
common
to
sense.
investigate
Well, if he has 2 pennies in his pocket, he might have some sense.
what those stains actually were.
I did not know.
By the way, can you lose a shoe from being dragged?
It depends. I guess you can, depending on how loose it is.
You're going to lose your shoes, most likely, unless you have big boots.
You said that there was no information that you had regarding Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe having any animosity toward each other prior to January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
But you did, we talked about, now let's talk about on January 29th, 2022. In your experience,
You're right, MP.
does drinking alcohol increase the likelihood or increase the possibility of getting into an altercation?
Absolutely. Liquid courage.
I would say, in my experience, in my opinion, the alcohol could become a social lubricant and exacerbate emotions. But to speak in a definitive form here, I can't.
You've heard of beer muscles. That's a common phrase, right?
Never heard that before, no.
Beer guts? Ever heard that one?
I've heard of beer gut, but not beer guts.
Having the guts to walk up to someone you might not otherwise walk up to in a bar because you've had too much to drink. Is that what beer muscles could mean?
I would say maybe liquid courage.
There you go.
What is liquid courage?
Same thing. Liquid courage.
Giving you courage that truly shouldn't be there.
That you might not otherwise have if you weren't drinking.
Yeah. Yes.
Can we wrap this up, Mr. Chairman?
I'm trying, Judge. I won't be much longer. You had evidence
Beer
that
nuts.
Brian Higgins had
Beer
been
nuts.
drinking most of the afternoon and evening or most of the night, that evening and night, at the time that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed walked into the Waterfall, correct?
I had information that Brian Higgins had returned from a police officer's funeral and then went to Waterfall after he changed clothes and took a shower.
Went to the hillside before he went to Waterfall and started drinking there, correct?
I don't have an independent memory of that, no.
But you did, at the time, you didn't pull the tape at Gesundheit. At the time, you didn't pull the tape at CPD that we saw with Brian Higgins on the phone at 1:30 in the morning, correct? You didn't have that information.
I'm sorry, can you
time-
give me a reference when
Sure.
at the time?
At the beginning of your investigation, January 29th and probably the next, let's call it a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
You did not have that information, correct?
No, we did not.
And you didn't seek that information from CPD at that time,
No, I had no information that he went there.
okay? And you didn't extract his phone, correct?
That's correct.
And finally, you indicated that you were asked on redirect examination, did you have any evidence that John actually went into the home? Did you ever interview Trooper Guarino during the course of your investigation at any time?
Interview him?
Talk to him
No.
about his extraction of John O'Keefe's phone and any of the data that came off of his phone.
No.
You did not realize that Trooper Guarino had information that John O'Keefe took 36 steps covering a distance of some 84 feet that would have placed Mr. O'Keefe inside the residence at 12:32:16.
Yeah.
Objection.
Did you have any information from Trooper Guarino about steps that were logged on Mr. O'Keefe's phone?
No, I did not.
Is that it, Mr. Jackson?
Why would you?
You said finally, that's what I'm wondering.
May I have just a moment?
Yes.
I'm trying to wrap this up. I only have a couple more things, but I may be able to.
You see that?
One question.
Bev wants to get him off.
Oh yeah.
Are you done? We're good.
As you sit here now, are you aware of whether or not there's evidence that John O'Keefe, the phone describes John O'Keefe's phone taking 36 steps, covering a distance of about 84 feet at 12:32 and 16 seconds on the morning of
aware of
January
that?
29th, 2022?
Objection.
Can you answer that? Are you aware of that?
I'm not, Your Honor.
Okay, the answer is,
The answer was,
No, I'm not aware of that.
Of course not.
all right.
All right.
All
That's
right,
it.
man. That's the show. Let
You
me ask you
know-
this. I want to ask the chat this, and maybe you know, Brian, was Bukhenik disciplined at all for his actions, especially through those text messages that were completely inappropriate for the court proceedings?
You know, that's a great question. I don't know if they asked the chat. I know, well, obviously Proctor. No, what Bukenik, I thought got a major. Or
Oh
minor.
yeah, 5 days. 5 days. Okay.
Yeah, 5 days. Okay, yeah, he got a major. He got a major suspension. So, and I
Why,
said,
why didn't he bring that up? Why didn't Action say, did you get any we know that Proctor got fired. Did you get
Yeah.
any discipline
maybe
for this
he,
case?
maybe they weren't. Bev wasn't going to let him ask. You know, I don't know.
Man, that would have been a great question to ask.
Yeah.
Who else got disciplined? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. At least let the jury hear that he got disciplined, right? The supervisor, and then the subordinate got terminated, right? I mean, come on, that shows you have a not a good cop, right? And then you have his supervisor's not good either.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we talked about this before. If Proctor was okay sending those kind of messages to a supervisor and the supervisor's supervisor, how many times has he done that in the past to other people, to other women?
All.
You'd have to speculate that, right? Because
I'm
it's
gonna
okay.
say-
It's been okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say all. They've done it their entire career. Okay, that's what you have to go with. It didn't just. This wasn't the first time they got caught. No, just like criminals, it's their 500th time, and they got caught.
Yeah.
Right. Or maybe 100th time, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But all right.
So what do we got coming up next? Who's maybe the chat can tell us who's going to be on stand tomorrow.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a cop on there. You know, since
That's
we're
what we
cops.
specialize. Yeah.
We're cops. It'd be nice to have cops. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll be watching tomorrow. Anything good in the chat? Any good questions? No, everybody's doing good. You guys hanging in there still?
Yeah, they're doing good.
Yeah, you got
Appreciate
a 5-day
everybody.
vacation. Well, I've explained
on the taxpayer's dime too.
Well, the 5 days he has to take off, he has to burn it from his vacation time or vacation or sick time. He doesn't get it for free. He's got to burn. So he had to burn 50 hours, right? So he burned 50 hours of vacation. He can't promote for 5 years, and he can't test and do anything or any movement for 5 years. At least that's the way it is here in Metro. Most places are pretty similar with discipline. So he's stuck. He's stuck. Okay. Do I agree with that? Well, I don't have any input, so they didn't ask my opinion.
But listen, if you guys buy any merch, 100% of the proceeds go to Karen Reed. So buy a shirt.
Get your Cop Daddy merch. I need to get a new mug. I keep saying that.
Well, help the cause. Buy a shirt.
Yep, get your merch. Free Karen Reed. Support the other YouTubers.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we want to thank you guys for spending your Tuesday night with us. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate all the super chats. Thank you very much. It does help us a lot.
It's Wednesday where they're at now.
Oh, is it Wednesday? What time? I don't even know what time it is.
It's 9 o'clock.
Oh, well, get to bed. Put on some of our old episodes. They'll put you to sleep.
Yeah. Say your blessings and go to bed.
Yeah. Say your blessings
All right,
and go to bed. Hey, thanks for watching.
For those still serving, have a safe tour of duty, please.
Make a difference in someone's life. Stay classy, Las Vegas.
Always.
1 Sam 5 and 1 Sam 6, copy of 425 call.
Copy. 1 Sam 5 en route.
1 Sam 6, copy, en route.